Hello everyone. So here is one more video on problems on the linked list. So without any delay, let's begin with the video. So this is our problem statement. Like we are given a linked list and we have to partition this linked list in such a way that all the nodes lesser than k should come before the k, and all the nodes which are greater than or equal to k should come after that node. So here this is the example. You can see here k is given 3. So all the nodes lesser than this node's value should come before that, and all the nodes which are greater than this value should come afterwards. And also, like, we have to keep the original order of the nodes. So answer of this problem would be this node. So here, as we can see, all the nodes greater than 3 are there on the right side, and all the nodes lesser than 3 are on the left side. And also, like, we have kept the original order of the nodes, like 4 and 3. So as you can see here, 4 and 3 are coming in the order, and then so on 5. So here is our algo. So we will be iterating the list one node at a time, and we will be using 3 pointers. A small list last, it will point to the last node of the small linked list, and greater list first, it will point to the first element of the greater list, and greater list last, it will point to the last pointer of the greater list. So initially we will create new head node, and we will point it to the first node of the smaller list. So let's begin with the like algo. So initially our head is here, and we will compare its value to the value of the k, that is 3. It's smaller, so we will assign our small list last to that node here, as you can see, and our new head will point to this node, because this is going to be our first node of the small list, and then we will move our head to the next node. So this is going to be our first node of the greater list. So we will point our greater list first to that node, and also, like, initially that will also be the last node of the greater list. So we will point both these to this node, and we will move our head here. So let's move head here. As we can see, our head is here. We will compare 3 with the k value, that is 3. So it's equals to k value. So it's going to be in our right list, that is greater list. So we will move our greater list last here. It's come here, and we will move our head to the next node. Here it come. So 2 is less than 3. So it's going to be in our left list, that is in a smaller list. So initially our smallest last is here. So its next will point to the new node of the smaller list. So it will point to here, and our small list last will become 2. And also we will point null at the last node. Also here is null in the last node, and then we will move our head to next element here. As we can see, let's move ahead here, and again we will compare 5 with the 3. So it's greater, so it's going to be in our greater list. So our greater list last next will point to head here, and greater list last will become this node, and we will point null to the greater list last, and we will move ahead. In the next step, like earlier, our like pointer was at 2, so we will compare it with the 3. Here, as we can see, 2 is less than 3, so it is going to be in our smaller list. So our smaller list last, that was earlier here, its next will point to this node. So our smaller list last next pointed here, and smaller list last become the new node, and we pointed null in the last node. and then we move ahead. So our last node containing the null, so we will come out of the iteration, that is the while loop, and at the last step we will point our small list last next to greater list first. So this 2 will point to the first node of the greater list, and at the end we will return new heads next, because that was the node we initially created and it was containing the head of the smaller list first. So here I have written the algo's code in the IDE, as you can see here. So here initially I am initializing all my pointers to null, and I am creating one node new head. So it's going to be our pointer to the head of the new linked list. And here I am keeping next, so we will keep next pointer address in next node. So I am iterating in the while loop while our head doesn't contain null. So I have written two conditions here. In the first condition, if data is less than k value, so our this condition will be executed, else this condition will be executed. So if data is smaller than the k value, then at the first we will initialize our new head next to the head, and our small list last will contain the head, and then we will move to the next pointer. Here like next is containing next of the head, and we are like putting null in the head, and our head moved ahead. Then like we move to this node, that is 4. So our condition will be executed, else here initially greater list first is null, so we will initialize both these pointers because it's going to be our first head. So greater list first will contain the head, and greater list last also will point to the head, because initially both first and last will be first node. Then here we move head, and our pointer came here 3. We compared the 3, so again it's greater than and equals to k, so we are going to be in this else condition. This time this else will be executed because this is going to be the second node. So we are going to initialize greater list last next to the head, and our head will become greater list last. Then we will move our next we will move to the next node. Then we will come here to this time we will come in this condition. So our small list last already initialized with the initial node here, so we will come in the else condition here. So here our smaller list last next will point to the head, and our smaller list last will become the head, and then we will move ahead with the next node. Again we move to 5. We will come here, we will compare it like it's greater than 3. Then like our greater list last next will point to the head, and our head will become greater list last, and then we will move ahead here, and then we will come in this condition again, and we will our smallest last that was earlier 2, that will point to the this head, and our smallest last will become head. So our smallest last will become this 2, and our head will move. So in the head now it will be null, so that while loop will be ended. So at the end we are pointing our smallest last to the greater list last, and we will return new head of the next. So let's just run the code. So here as you can see, that was our initial list 143252, and like this is the list after the execution of the function. Here as we can see, all these elements are lesser than 3 and all these elements are greater than 3. So what is our time complexity is going to be? Our time complexity will be on, because we are iterating the list only once, and our space complexity will be O1, because we are not creating any extra variables, or extra, we are not consuming any extra space while iterating the list. So this is going to be our time complexity and the space complexity. So thank you very much for watching.